Content is intended to provide accurate information, however, is not intended as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult a financial, legal, or tax professional for specific information regarding your individual situation. Opinions expressed and provided are for general informational purposes only and should not be considered a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security.
Welcome to Game Plan for Retirement with Chris McIntire. McIntire Retirement Services, Northwest Ohio's retirement planning resource.
And welcome into the program. This is your Game Plan for Retirement with Northwestern Ohio's resource for a common sense approach to planning, for guidance and perspective on what to do with your money, your investments, and planning for your retirement future. He is president and founder of McIntire Retirement Services. Chris McIntire here, providing us with the guidance that we need in this complicated financial world. Chris, always a pleasure. We appreciate your time here on the program.
Hey, good morning. Good to be with you, Peter. Hope everybody's having a great weekend so far.
Absolutely. And Chris, we don't just offer financial solutions here on the program. What you offer is a resource for savers, investors, for workers and retirees across Northwestern Ohio to have someone that they can talk to, that they can work through complex financial issues, and that is going to be there to help them formulate and then monitor and execute a plan on an ongoing basis. In this financial world, I think that that is so important for people to have because it seems like there's kind of a new wrinkle every day or things that we may not know that could impact our financial future.
Yeah, there certainly is. We've got a lot of legislative changes that have happened or proposed to be happening here. We got a very important midterm election up and coming. So, you have to be able to ebb and flow. The economy has certainly changed, as we've dealt with inflation, low interest rates, now rising interest rates. So there are a lot of dynamics that are going on out there that you have to be nimble enough to, to try to navigate around. Remember, hindsight's always 20/20 in about everything that we do, from going to the doctor. Well, I should have went a month ago to, well, should I have sold and put everything into cash? Or boy, maybe that was the mistake. A lot of different things there. And so the word should is a very dangerous word. And it is one that I caution a lot of my clients to not use. And even people in general. Should is a very dangerous word and it's unhealthy.
Well, and I think you're right. Looking back, we've got the benefit of the knowledge of everything that has happened since an event. But when we're making a decision in the moment, we only have the information that we have. And you're in this day to day. You are paying attention. There are a lot of things that may happen into the future or that are going to happen, kind of already in place, that the average person just in the day-to-day minutia of their work and their daily lives may not have the knowledge, but can significantly impact the outcome of our financial decisions. And Chris, I think that's why having that resource is so important. And ladies and gentlemen, before we go any further in the program, if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you would like to put that proactive, forward-looking game plan for retirement, the written retirement income plan together, pick up the phone and give a call to Chris McIntire and McIntire Retirement Services, 800-868-1194, the number to call. That's 800-868-1194, 800-868-1194 for the complimentary review and retirement planning strategy session, or just a quick conversation and a couple quick questions. You can get answers by having Chris McIntire as your resource, 800-868-1194. And having a qualified, experienced professional certainly has significant benefits in the planning process. Chris, people want to have a resource that they know, like, and trust. So maybe as we get going here, just a little bit of background on who you are and what some of your beliefs and planning strategies really mean to your clients. So what do you really believe about your business and the financial industry on whole that impacts kind of the perspective and the way that you help clients put plans together?
Yeah, I'll try to phrase that in if I'm listening to this show and don't have the knowledge on how the industry works. So, our industry breaks down to the investment side of things, which would be stocks, bonds, mutual funds. and regulatory authorities that set the rules. And so for us there, it would be the Securities and Exchange Commission, because we act as fiduciaries, have to act in the client's best interest. So typically that means our clients pay us to manage their assets. We don't get paid to buy and sell securities for them. We don't earn commissions on our investment side of things. And then we also represent the insurance industry, because we do a fair amount of business with life insurance, term insurance, whole life insurance, long-term care issues. We do a lot of annuity business to structure safe vehicles or safe vehicles with income strategies on them. So the insurance industry is regulated by each individual state. You have a Department of Insurance. So, if I'm listening to the show today, what they don't know is that there are a lot of political forces at play into who gets to regulate what. And, boy, if we get to regulate the insurance industry, we can probably, is there more money to be made by the governing agency? So, and I'm an independent minded person anyway. I have been very lucky in this industry, Peter, as you know, my good buddy of mine, David Gaylor, who was independent, kind of helped mentor me into this process, and a couple other, obviously some other key individuals. And, Dave was independent. So I don't come at this with the knowledge that, was inherently different, let's say that, or inherently bad, I think, for clients, was the old brokerage industry, full of conflicts of interest in, churning accounts, making transactions to earn commissions and so on, things you learn over the years. So I have just been very blessed that I came into it independent. I've always been independent, never had a corporate entity over the top of me, saying what you must push on the clients this much this month to earn some sort of contest or something. So thankfully, my independence is probably the biggest strength, and probably my distrust of government overall. Not a conspiracy theorist, but the size of the government gets larger and larger and larger, and they need to regulate more and more and more to justify their existence to the taxpayers. And I'm not sure that that's an effective use of all of the resources.
Well, I have certainly noticed the eagle in your logo, and the discussion of being independent has been a recurring theme in this program, Chris. You, as an advisor to your clients, therefore have the ability to create and custom design plans without kind of a bias of what is the best, or a mandate of what is the only product or solution or strategy to use. You literally have the spectrum of the financial world. And I know there is some debate, because the Wall Street financial industry wants everybody's money, all of it, in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. And then there are certain types of savers that are not as risk tolerant. They may not want, or in certain cases, should not have or cannot afford to have all of their money at risk in the midst of a downturn. And so there are solutions that will help to preserve and protect principal, and yet still give us some opportunity for growth. You've got access to both sides. And I know there's debate in between there, but you are custom designing solutions for individual clients and families. And I think that there is something there that is certainly of value above and beyond a boilerplate or a banging square peg into round hole kind of planning approach.
Yeah, Peter, and I got a perfect example on a new client that we've been working with that had a fair amount of money outside of an IRA account, okay, and was put into an algorithmic type portfolio that traded all the time, and it generated $60,000 of capital gains taxes on money she never spent. And, so it's like, well, somebody's clearly not doing their job, paying attention to what their tax return is. So, I think, if we bring a more of a holistic approach, is understanding the tax situation on the dollars that we're investing, and the ramifications of buying and selling. I've got clients here this year that have no idea that we harvested a bunch of losses when the market fell and shifted a little bit of strategies to get some of those losses locked into their accounts so that we can offset capital gains in the future. That's what again, a smart
things that we may not know. We may not have the understanding to do that if we're working day to day in our job and profession, Chris. That is part of the burden of responsibility and servitude that you take on to your clients.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I have a fiduciary duty to act in their best interest, and sometimes harvesting losses is in their best interest because we can use them to offset gains down the road and tax manage. Now, does that have anything to do with somebody saying, well, I've got the hot stock of the month, and it doesn't make for a good commercial that says, well, everybody should have this and no one else should ever own this, and touting, that, we're a fee-based money management and you should avoid all high commissions. And as well, there aren't any high commissions, that may sound good on a TV commercial. And, what's the definition of high? Is it cheaper for a client to pay 1% for 10 years or 5% day one paid by another company to the broker or the insurance agent, which costs the client less in the long run?
Yeah. And I know that's part of the debate is compensation, Chris. You have the freedom of choice and discretion. It's kind of based on the individual type of relationship that your client wants to have with an advisor, and in certain cases, the specific type of product used. If a product is necessary, such as life insurance, I know that's one of the big areas of debate. Life insurance is different than stocks, bonds, and mutual funds in the market, but I feel as though there's very little that you could argue that is more in a client's best interest than placing the proper and appropriate amount of life insurance to protect their family and to protect their financial interests. That is one area where there's sort of been this debate where I think it's a pretty clear-cut thing, in my opinion, as we have talked over the course of this program.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Peter. Life insurance has a lot of uses to it, not just for when somebody passes away in providing an income tax-free death benefit, and so there are term insurance policies that are just in case, if you will. We're in the process of doing several of them for some people that have just recently retired that said, hey, I'm going to choose this pension benefit, but I'm going to get a term policy for 10 years in case something happens in the first 10 years, I've covered that gap. I have people, and like myself, who use life insurance as an extra investment vehicle or a savings vehicle, if you would, to create a pool of cash that you can structure very tax efficiently while you're alive, to life insurance policies that pay for long-term care benefits or chronic illness benefits. If you went into a nursing home, assisted living, needed to pay somebody to come into your own home. Okay, find me a mutual fund that does that, all of those things. Just one, guys, find me one mutual fund that does everything a life insurance policy can do.
Well, again, the freedom to individualize, customize plans for specific clients' situations and circumstances is the benefit of having an independent fiduciary like Chris McIntire there at McIntire Retirement Services. And if you would like to deal with a qualified, experienced professional that has that insight and perspective and ability, pick up the phone, give Chris a call. He does offer a complimentary review evaluation. The initial consultation is free of charge and will help you put together your specific game plan for retirement and written retirement income plan. 800-868-1194. That's 800-868-1194. 800-868-1194. So Chris, in your business, in the planning process, what do you aspire to professionally? And maybe from your own perspective, or what you aspire to help your clients achieve and accomplish in that planning process?
Yeah, Peter, I'm kind of, I'm a tax geek. I like to be an overall kind of like a quarterback or a coordinator. I'm happy to work with, I have clients that I work with, their other advisors sometimes because they've got a substantial amount of money. They don't want to put it all in one place. I've got other clients that, that I'm reaching out to their accountant and we're talking about Roth IRA conversions. Hey, how much can Mr. and Mrs. Smith put into the Roth IRA and still be in the 12% tax bracket? And then, we're working on that, and are we making any extra money doing that? No, that's what they're paying us to do in the first place. So if we're managing their assets, at TD Ameritrade, which is one of our trading platforms, if you will, or a custodian, I don't make any more money by talking to their accountant and moving money that's already in an IRA that I'm getting paid on to opening another account that I got to pay staff to do and all those things, but that's what our job is. It's not just throw them in an algorithm driven portfolio that because the math said this, then we're going to do that, and life is not math all the time. I like algebra. Algebra is a great, the world is algebra, and so I've done a lot of talks with kids at high schools and everything. And, so many of them, their parents will say, well, you're never going to use any algebra in your life. And, I'll say, what time did you have to get up to come to school today? That's an algebra problem, solving for the unknown. Yep. Life is algebra. And I know the math teachers out there are clapping right now. Thank you.
Absolutely. My mom was one of them, and she would applaud greatly because, I hear that comment as well. I have not used algebra since I passed it in 7th grade or whatever grade folks took it in, but I literally use it almost every day and probably multiple times a day. Again, Chris, self-proclaimed tax geek. What do you think about this proposal for 80,000 additional IRS agents? You and I were talking before the program today. That equates to something like 25 to 30 additional IRS agents for every county in the United States.
It is shocking, man, is what it really is. And they say they're going after the billionaires. There's not 80,000 billionaires, guys, and so how much is it going to cost? $80 billion over 10 years to hire 80,000. When do you ever get rid of them then? How many more pensions are we funding in government healthcare that the rest of us don't have? It just, I'm not a fan of the government's ever expanding size because at some point it collapses and, hey, what's $28 trillion in debt? Well, here's what a trillion seconds in time is. 1 trillion seconds in time is 11,000 years, and these guys blow through money like it's nothing, and it's a problem with one party politics. We have one party that controls all 3 legislatures, and that's what happens. I'm sorry. Elections have consequences, folks. That's why we need balance of powers, in my opinion, the checks and balances, and we don't have any of that right now.
Well, and politics impacts finance, certainly, and what influences our financial future are the policies of those that we elect. So we need to understand. And Chris, as an example, a lot of people are still unaware of the Secure Act. This is something that was basically the most significant sweeping change to laws regarding our retirement accounts in the last 20 years. It took away the ability to pass on inherited retirement accounts in the same way and manner, where we could give those to our children who could defer them over their lifetimes and our grandchildren who could defer them over our lifetimes. They now must be liquidated in very short order. And a lot of people don't realize that this law even went into effect or even have heard of this law.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And to be fair, that happened under the Trump administration, with a Democratic Senate and a Democratic House. So, just to throw the other party into play here, those things, legislative consequences, when they change taxes, like we're seeing right now, they were talking about the carried interest tax, which deals with hedge funds. And it's basically they're paying tax at the capital gains rate, not the ordinary income rate. They're still paying tax on money and profits that they generated. The government didn't generate any of it.
There may be differences, but no side without fault. They're both government, right, Chris?
Yeah, and the way they make money is they take it from other people. And, I'm just, they never get smaller. That's the concern, guys. Who pays for these pensions? My uncle is a retired government employee, has had fantastic health care and fantastic pension pieces, and all the things that the rest of us don't have in the private sector. And, hey, that was his decision. This is my decision to do what I do. Obviously, I'm not criticizing people, but, they stack the decks in their favor. They're never going to vote for themselves to get less of anything. Why would they do that? It's not in their best interest.
But why is it in private industry, companies have gone above and beyond to get out of pensions and get out of the liability and obligations of offering pensions? Because
they have a fiduciary responsibility to the shareholders to operate lean and mean and efficient instead of wasting tens of millions of dollars. It's not rocket science, folks.
But the pension was such a valuable component of a sound retirement. It was such a peace of mind financial factor. And Chris, I think that is what a lot of people are looking for in today's financial world, absent having that pension, is where they can generate a reliable, dependable stream of income that they know will last for their lifetime. And that is one of the areas where that written retirement income plan, that game plan for retirement, can show people options that they may not have been aware of or that they can utilize in order to fill that gap that the absence of a pension has left.
Yeah. And, hey, who wouldn't want to have a nice, healthy pension? I think we all would. I structure everything I'm doing for my wife's and I's retirement on how much income we're going to get, not how big that final number is. Walking around with a $3 million IRA account, I want to know what is the income I can be guaranteed to live off of, because that's what I'm going to do. And, we don't want to discount that. Many companies now obviously trying to get lean and mean. They've upped that 401k match to attract more people. The government has allowed people to put more and more money into their 401ks to do catch-up provisions, because they know there is a retirement crisis out there. We have Social Security that we're funding, kind of our own private pensions or whatever you want to call what Social Security is, that each individual gets based on their earnings records. And, now they're talking about, we might have to means test Social Security, meaning you might not get what you put into it because you make too much money, you have too much money in an IRA account that you probably don't need your Social Security, even though we taxed you from every dollar, basically every dollar that you own for you to contribute into it at 6.25%, whatever the number is. Sorry, Peter's got me talking about taxes, so my blood pressure's up, and coffee. Relax, everybody out there. Yep, we're just, these are some hot button issues that are out there that need to be talked about. How do we continue to fund all of these programs? When the credit card bill is 28 trillion and change.
Yeah, we need to understand these factors and make these considerations in our own personal planning. And that's why you need to talk them through. And every plan has some variables, have some assumptions that your financial future is based upon, ladies and gentlemen. What is the expected anticipated rate of return? What is the expected and assumed tax rate? What is the expected and assumed inflation rate that's factored in? These things need to be thought through carefully and discussed. And that's what the planning review and strategy session really is all about there at McIntire Retirement Services with Chris McIntire. He does offer you the opportunity to review and evaluate and examine your plan and make sure that each piece, each investment, each account is working its hardest, its most effective to help you achieve your financial goals and objectives. No cost, no obligations for that first initial review and evaluation, that discussion and that planning strategy session. Just give McIntire Retirement Services a call, 800-868-1194. That's 800-868-1194, 800-868-1194. So Chris, who is it that you feel you best work with, or what is the value to working with a financial financial advisor, even for those who have been pretty successful in saving and accumulating a good amount of wealth?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question, Peter. And, I think, the ideal person is somebody that's got, is willing to listen to what are all of the the options that they have for investing. And it's not somebody with a great deal of knowledge on exchange traded funds or real estate investment trust or annuities, or, it's just someone that's worked hard, that truly is looking for some guidance to help them improve their position over the course of our relationship. Not somebody that just walks in one day, we sign a paper and I make a commission and never see him again. That's not what we're after here. We are in the relationship business when you're a fiduciary, because you're earning a fee over the course of a period of time. So obviously, the longer that you have that relationship, the more you can nurture it and build. And, it's nice when I got folks that have been around for 20 years and, they come in, we probably spend more time talking about family and everything and health issues and things like that. Or, when they're in Florida and they call you up and a family member has had a family emergency and you're the second or third person they call, there, you've made a difference. And that's probably the one that gets me the most right there, buddy.
Well, I think that it's important to have that resource, especially from a financial perspective, because so many of those kind of events, those emergencies, those things that come up in life involve our money and finance. And to have that kind of resource certainly can add some additional perspective, if not confidence during those times. So ladies and gentlemen, again, formulate that relationship with a qualified, knowledgeable, experienced professional. Chris McIntire is here as a resource for you. If you'd like to have that conversation, get a better understanding of what your money is currently doing for you, and if it's aligned with your goals. Through that complimentary review and retirement planning strategy session, Chris will take a look at your accounts, your investments, your retirement assets, and help you get a better understanding of the risks that you're taking, the fees that you're paying, the taxes that you may be liable for, the order of operations, the back to math, the algebra of how to solve for the income that you are going to need to generate for yourself and your family into and throughout retirement. Pick up the phone and give a call, 800-868-1194. That's 800-868-1194, 800-868-1194. Chris, in that conversation of having those family emergencies or big events coming up, I will have to say that unfortunately, I think that a lot of people wait until after those events to really think about having the kind of relationship with a planner or advisor that you have with your clients. Again, kind of hindsight being 2020, a lot of people wish that they had that relationship established and in place well ahead of time, might make those times a little easier to navigate.
Yeah, Peter, I think, part of our niche is, we have a lot of clients. We have a network of professionals. They may say, hey, I ran into something like this. Who should I call? It's like, hang on a minute. Yep, we got somebody you need to reach out to. So problem solving is what we do. And, we're, I think we kind of, if you want to look at the algebra thing, algebra is solving problems, right? You're solving for the unknown. And, that's something that I take a lot of pride in. Again, the shout out to the math teachers and to my Davis Bessie clients that, yep, I know that big cooling tower is a hyperbola. I get it, so I'm going to hear about this one now.
Well, I think that forming that relationship, having knowledge of the details of someone's life and situation and finance does take some time. But ladies and gentlemen, you are invited to contact Chris McIntire and begin that discussion. And we've talked about a number of very specific financial topics on previous weeks' programs, Chris. We didn't really get into anything, I think, too specific on today's show, but I think this has been one of our best ones in getting to know you and your perspective and viewpoints and why it's so important to receive the kind of guidance from a financial professional that you do provide to your clients. So thank you for being here as the constant resource, reminding people that this is so important to be proactive. It's called planning, not reacting expecting, ladies and gentlemen. You want to plan for your financial future, and Chris McIntire is that planning resource available for you. Give a call, 800-868-1194. That's 800-868-1194. 800-868-1194. Chris, we always appreciate the time. You looking forward to spending some time out on the boat?
Yep, I'm looking forward to it. And I have to leave you, since we were taking shots at the government. Remember, the 9 words you need to fear the most is I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Well,
thank you, Ronald Reagan.
With 80,000 new agents, unfortunately, I think more people will be hearing that potentially in the near future, Chris. So again, always appreciate your time, your perspective, and the information, education, and guidance that you provide on what we need to be doing and thinking about and aware of with our money.
My pleasure, folks. Everybody stay safe out there and stay united.
Chris is your resource, ladies and gentlemen. Looking forward to hearing from you, helping any way he can. Give him a call, 800-868-1194, and we'll talk to you next week on Your Game Plan for Retirement.
Visit McIntyreRetirementServices.com for many additional valuable resources, including other great episodes of Game Plan for Retirement.
The content of this radio show is provided for informational
purposes
purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. You are encouraged to seek investment, tax, or legal advice from an independent professional advisor. Any investments and/or investment strategies mentioned involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. Advisory services offered through Brookstone Capital Management, a registered investment advisor.
Fiduciary duty extends solely to investment advisory advice and does not extend to other activities such as insurance or broker-dealer services. Advisory clients are charged a quarterly fee for assets under management, while insurance products pay a commission, which may result in a conflict of interest regarding compensation.
Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Indexed or fixed annuities are not designed for short-term investments and may be subject to caps, restrictions, fees, and surrender charges as described in the annuity contract.